Welcome back. Let's do a little yoga. Let's start seated. I want to say a quick thank you. It's cold today, it's rainy, it's about 5 o'clock, and because of you, because of the hundreds of people that are watching these videos and the subscribers. Welcome Emily today, thanks for adding me on, and Annie. It keeps me going too, so thanks. So we're going to begin seated. Just bring your arms overhead. Close your eyes for a second and just cactus your arms, opening up the chest. It's nice. Oh, you might get a little snap crackle. Inhale, arms overhead. And then just bring the right arm down to the ground. Let the elbow bend slightly. Reach the left arm over the ear, palm facing down, and relax your shoulder. That's nice. And then bring your left hand to the ground and just start to kind of crawl yourself over until you're at the other side. And you can pause over here. That's a nice deep stretch, right? And then reach your right arm up and over. The palm is facing down, slight bend at the elbow. So I don't think you'll need props today, but we might go to the wall. I discovered kind of a nice handstand at the wall. And then bring your hands forward. And then I'd like you to slide your hands as far forward as you can go and try to find a little flat back. And then tuck your chin and round your back. It's like a seated cat-cow. And when I teach this in classes, it reminds me of a wave. So we're a wave crashing down towards the sand. Yeah? And then it rolls back, and you can even kind of make the sound of that, either the pebbles rotating in the sand or just the water itself. Just a little spinal articulation to stretch and to warm up the back. Good. And then when you come forward that last time, make your way onto hands and knees. And then we'll do a big kind of circle of the hips. Yeah, loosening things up. I've been teaching yin classes, and they would call this distributing the chi through your meridian lines, which is where the energy flows. And sometimes we can get blockage in those lines, the yin practitioners say, and just simple movement. And of course with yin, it's deep stretching and compression, and long holds can release it. Good. And then from here, we're just going to lift the left leg behind us. We won't be here long, but just to juice up the hips a little bit more. Open the left hip, but keep your hands on the ground so the shoulders are square and your neck nice and long. Yeah. Good. And then just bring your left knee and your forehead together, holding that, puffing out the back. Good. And then put it back down, but just put the ball of the left foot down and bring your right knee into your face, and then tick-tock the right knee from side to side. Just a little core wake-up call before we get going. One more inhale, and then let's release that by lifting the right leg, bending the right knee. So you're in a three-legged dog now. And then the left heel is lifted. The right glute is engaged. The right knee is bent. You can point or flex the right toe. You could also bend and straighten the right leg. There's no right or wrong here. We're just kind of warming up. Definitely let the head dangle. One more inhale here. And then come back down to hands and knees. Now, sometimes the wrists get fatigued, so in between, you can always turn your hands upside down, So now let's take the right leg and extend it out behind us and lift it and bend the right knee, and you can really see the opening of the hip on this side. Yeah. So by now, I think everybody's kind of come into a routine. The kids are in school. We realize this isn't going anywhere. Lots of different ways to get our fitness in. But it's the new normal now. Turn the toes down. Lift the left leg. I think a lot of that frenetic buying and the unknown, at least in my community, seems to be dissipating, and now it's just, okay, this is how we live. And then bring your left knee into your nose and we'll tick-tock the left leg. And here's where that choosing where you want your mind to go comes into play. Yeah. And then put the left leg back. Now lower yourself all the way down to the ground. And then press into a cobra. And then from cobra, push yourself back to a child's pose. Yeah, and just settle into this child's pose in an effort to let the low back release. Walk your hands over to the right and feel the left rib cage expand. Yeah. I'm just so grateful for all the texts and emails and Facebook posts and all the other ways people are just letting me know that this has helped them. It's helping me just as much, just so you know. I know a lot of you guys know me pretty well, and it's not only is yoga a passion, but sharing my passion, and it's been that way for me for a really long time. Downward facing dog. Yeah. And then come to a plank, lower yourself down. Push to a cobra. Push back up to a plank, and then downward facing dog. Yeah, we'll do that 4 more times to kind of get warmed up. So you're in a plank. You ease yourself down. You peel your chest off of the mat. Ease yourself back down again, and then using the strength of the arms, the chest, the back, push up and then push back. There you go. And you can have it flow from one movement to the next by linking the breath to the movement. So we inhale when we come forward to a plank and lower down on our exhale. Cobra is an inhale, and then exhale, lower down. Push to a plank, exhale, downward facing dog. 1 more round. Beautiful. Push to a plank, and we're done with that. Nice job. Good. Now before we get going, how about a little twist? So you might need to walk your feet a lot closer to your hands, so shorten up your dog, right? Because I want to grab the outside of the right foot and bend the left knee. And then just let your head dangle. I know. So I did a yin class. Joya Yoga is doing live classes, and I did a yin one that was about the hips today. And it's so revealing when we touch this part of our body. And then the other side. Especially since we've all been probably walking and hiking more than usual. So this time you'll grab the left ankle and bend the right knee. Letting the head dangle. Good. And then downward facing dog. Oh. Nice job, everybody. Let's walk to the top of our mat. We'll forward fold here. And then we tabletop our back, so it's nice and flat. And then forward fold. And then rise up to standing, and then right back down. Good, let's do this just short little 4 movements. 5 times, so this is 2. Yeah, hinging at the hip, so warming up the hip joint. Opening up the chest. Reaching through the side body. And then again, linking movement to breath. So we inhale on the half lift. We exhale as we dip down. We rise to standing, full extension and inhale. And then right back down, exhaling and pulling the belly in. 1 more of these and we'll move on. Inhale, arms overhead. So exhale here. Yep, and then inhale, half lift. And then put the hands down on the ground. So you're in a plank pose. Step the feet back. Lower down just halfway to your chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. We're going to add in some leg. So lift your right leg and open your right hip like we did on all 4s. And then bring your right leg across. So your right, the outside of your right foot is on the left side, so it's off the mat. Now this is challenging, and I'm going to struggle doing it too, but I want you to just dip in a little bit. Just a little baby push-up, and then do that again. So it's another 5s class, and this is the first combination of movements. It's this right leg lifting, right knee bending, hip opening, and then right leg across, shoulders kind of over the fingertips, elbows bent behind you. Yeah, woo! We keep going. I think we have 2 more. So what's your goal while we're doing this home stay? What are you working on? Are you reading more? I am. Are you committing to doing something cool with your kids? Beautiful. And then put it back down. Okay? Let's do this. Let's get off the hands, bend the knees, walk the feet to the top of your mat, forward fold. Tabletop your back on an inhale. Exhale, forward fold. And then rise up to standing. Now we're going to do an eagle stance, and I want to face you as we do it, and then I'll turn sideways. So bend the knees. You're in a chair, right? I want you to wrap your left arm underneath your right, okay? And if they don't wrap, you can just bring your forearms together. That's fine. So left is underneath. Now the left leg, just cross it over your right. And I know with classic Garudasana or classic eagle, the foot is also wrapped around the ankle like this. But for joint safety, and the whole point of this is to line up the elbows and the knees. And it's to sit really low, yes, but also to stack the shoulders over the hips. And I just haven't seen a whole lot of people that can do all of that with the foot wrapped. Now, if you can, knock yourself out, that's great. And then while we're here, we're going to bring our elbows to our knees and crunch. We did this earlier this week without the leg. But I like what the crossing of the left leg does from a compression standpoint, and then also from a hip stretch, especially on the right side. 2 more here, making sure you inhale as you come up and exhale as you lower down. Last one here, and then unwind the arms. That's a sweet relief. Feel that blood just flush. Forward fold. Inhale, half lift. And then we'll step back and float through your version of a vinyasa, which could just mean meeting us in downward facing dog. And then we do the same thing on the other side. We start with the left leg in the air. We'll open the hip and then cross the left leg over. So left leg's going to lift. bend the left knee. Open the hip up, it's like it's yawning. I heard that the other day and I loved it. And then bring the shoulders forward. Bring the left leg over to the right, and then it's that little, your push-up is probably much bigger than mine. But we're doing a push-up. Open it up on an inhale. Cross it over. Bend the elbows. Exhale. Inhale. Cross it over. Now mindful where those shoulders are in relationship to the wrists. You can really hurt yourself if your shoulders aren't at least stacked on top of the wrist. Last one. Exhale, twist, and then a little push-up. Good. Downward facing dog, bend the knees, look between the hands, and walk to the top of your mat, forward fold. Tabletop your back on an inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Let's rise up to standing. This time it's the right arm that wraps underneath the left. Both knees bend. Right leg wraps over the left, lining up the knees, the elbows, and then lean back. Yeah. So Megan Coomer, if you're out there, I always like to throw an eagle in for you. This was your best pose. You were so stable here. Inhale here, elbows to knees, exhale. Inhale. And then exhale, lower it down. Inhale. Exhale. A little shout out to Stan McKenzie. I know you were up in the mountains and now you're back home with the family. I bet that feels great to be home. Last one here. And then we unleash. Open up. Inhale, forward fold. Exhale. Inhale, it's a tabletop of the back, and then step back, roll forward and lower down. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Okay, so like all five, we keep kind of adding on, beginning with what we started with, which was the right leg in the air with the knee bent, open the hip. Exhale, cross it over with a push-up. Just like that. So smooth. Familiar. So there's nothing jerky about it. You're not looking up at the TV screen anymore. You're just flowing. And that's kind of the state we want to get into in our practice, that flow state, where it becomes almost effortless because we are so lost in the movement. Downward facing dog on the fifth one. Bend your knees and then walk to the top of your mat, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Bend the knees, come to chair. And then wrap your left arm underneath your right. Lift your left leg up and cross it on top of the right. Inhale, fingertips lift. 5 crunches. Inhale, and then every time activating your low belly, knitting your ribs together, blowing the air out, using the entire abdominal combination, the 3 rectus abdominis, obliques, and transverse abdominis to get you into this beautiful crunch. Now last one here, unwind everything and bring your left knee to a tabletop. And then step back to a runner's lunge with your fingertips on the floor, or again, if you have pasta boxes, that might work. Now drop the right knee and bring the arms overhead and cactus your arms. And then back to your runner's lunge, lift the back knee. Drop down, arms overhead, it's a cactus. Inhale, hands down, lift the back knee. 3 more. Now we're getting into the thighs. A little warmth in the right thigh, a little stretch for the left. A little back warmth as we cactus the arms, and we're almost out here. Beautiful, let's vinyasa. Step the right foot back, roll forward and lower down. Upward facing, downward facing dog, right into the left leg, right into that knee opening, hip opening, and then we slide it across, bending the elbows. Yes. Slide it across and bend the elbows. 3 more. Exhaling. 2. And then last one. Beautiful work, ladies and gentlemen. Bend the knees. Look between your hands. Walk to the top of your mat. Forward fold. You know what I think is going to come out of this? Is there are a lot of you out there that were just like me when I began to do yoga. I wasn't ready to go to a classroom. Wrap your right arm underneath your left. I don't know if it was fear or a lot of it was there was nothing available at the time when I was got into it 20 years ago. There weren't any yoga studios that were doing vinyasa in Pleasanton, and with little babies, you know, driving to San Francisco and Marin wasn't a possible choice. So I did videos at home. You know, I think they were DVDs at the time. Until, you know, a year later, I think the yoga company I discovered at Audrey Allen, who I still get to work for to this day. And so that's how it began. But I think for a lot of us, arms overhead, bring the right knee into a tabletop. Some of you out there, I think Christine Harkness is out there hopefully watching today. She's such an athlete, and this would benefit her tennis and her golf so much. So I hope you're watching, and I hope you get the bug. Drop the right knee, and even if you do a half an hour of it with your kids, and then arms overhead. I forgot to cactus. Inhale, arms overhead, cactus the arms, and then reach the arms overhead. Again. And yeah, you should get a little warm in the left thigh. Maybe even the heart rate is up a little bit. And then come down. Couple more. Lifting the back knee. Last time here. Oh, I keep forgetting the cactus. Sorry, you guys. I hope you're doing it. Step it back. There's usually someone in class that calls me out. Vinyasa. Nice. Okay. Let's keep going. Right leg lifts. Hip opens. Something about the repetition of these classes is just so comforting. Come on out and open it up. We're on the right hip. We're on the right leg. We're going from a 3-legged dog to a partial fallen triangle with a push-up. And we'll add on once we get the whole flow in. But for now, we're just going to piece it all together, adding one combination at a time. Beautiful. And then drop the right foot down next to the left, bend both knees. We come to the top of our mat. Tabletop our back, forward fold. Bend your knees, come to standing. And then we wrap the left foot, left leg on top of the right, left hand. So if you think of each one of these as a sit-up, you know, throughout the hour, we're probably going to do about, I don't know, 50 sit-ups. If you count the push-up that we do in between each one of those 3-legged dogs, 50 push-ups. That's pretty damn good for a yoga class. So come on up. And then we go back to that runner's lunge. So even though this becomes familiar, let's not forget about safety. So making sure the right knee doesn't extend beyond the right ankle. And then try to stay on the ball of the left foot and not have the heel kind of sag so far back. And then we don't forget the breath. Oh, I forgot it. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, lift the back knee off the floor. Inhale, bring the arms overhead. Exhale, cactus. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, back knee comes off the floor. All right, we'll do 2 more. A little bit challenging, but not too challenging. A little bit sweet, but not so sweet that we completely tune out. Yeah, we're doing something. Good. Now we're going to move on from here. Step your right foot back, bend the elbows so you're in chaturanga. We're in our upward facing dog with the thighs off the floor, and then downward facing dog. Let's lift the right leg and bring the right knee to your nose. Yeah, we'll do that 4 more times. There's just nothing better, I found, that to get the breath going than bringing our knee to our nose. And it also just shows us how to transfer the weight from the back of the mat, the ball of the left foot, to the front of the mat. Yeah, and then once you finish your last one, step your right foot between your hands and put your right heel on the floor, and then clasp your hands behind your back. Now, if they don't clasp, you could grab your elbows, which for me is actually harder, or you can just have your arms out to the side like wings. This is a humble warrior, but we're not going to dip our shoulder on the inside. We're just going to suspend the chest because we're going to come up, open the chest, and if you can, lift the hands off of the back thigh. Now, try to keep the palms of the hands together. I know I see a lot of students that do this, but for me, and I think eventually, it is going to irritate the front of the shoulder. So just try. And then we'll do this 5 times. Lift it up, open your chest. Exhale, lower down. Now that you know what you're doing, can you relax your neck and just bring the crown of the head to the front of whatever room you're in? And then lift your chin as you inhale and come on up. On the 5th one, lower down and just release the hands, bringing the arms overhead, and we'll vinyasa. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. And I'll link a playlist to this so you can have the music in the background. Bend the left knee, let the hip open, and then we'll cross it across. Yeah, and then that little push-up. Up and open. Cross and push up. 3 more. Up and open. Run it across and push up. Yeah. So yeah, one of the things is people that have never felt comfortable coming to a yoga studio might begin to practice yoga at home. Anigo, I know you're out there. Yeah, it's safe there. You don't have to have $200 Lululemon outfits and a $100 Manduka mat. You can do it at home in your pajamas with no mat and get all the benefits. Right arm underneath, left arm, and then right leg on top of the left leg. Here we go, our 5 abdominal crunches. Inhale and then bring it down. Today, there was a cycle class before mine that David taught at Joya. And, he had never been in classes before, and because he has that time, he was able to stay, granted, 15 feet away on the other end of the room, but that was probably his first yin experience, and he felt fabulous at the end. And I just loved having him there. It was so brave. Beautiful. Unwind. Right leg lifts to a tabletop. We're back in our runner's lunge. Check in with your joint alignment for safety. Drop the back knee. Inhale the arms overhead. Exhale, cactus. Arms overhead, down on the floor. Lift the back knee. Yeah? Keep going. Woo! Arms overhead. Hands down to the ground. So my son Jack is back at school. I'm sure a lot of your kids are back at school, and he doesn't have a camera in his computer because he turned his television into his monitor, which of course is fabulous for his games. But it's hard to take classes, and we went to buy him a webcam, and they're all sold out. I know, crazy. Okay, put your hands on the floor, step back, we'll vinyasa, and we'll do the Warrior 1 series on the left leg. But then I asked him what kind of iPhone he had, and he says he has an iPhone 10, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't feel sorry for you, you're doing just fine. Yeah. But anyway, it's all new, and these kids are figuring it out. That's the best part, right? I have a younger sister, Judy, and she has 4 kids, and they're all really little. And the kindergartner and the first grader sit at her desk for hours doing their homework on the computer. And she sent pictures to my mom, and they're just adorable. Yeah. Beautiful, that's it. Now step the left, what am I doing here? I forget. We gotta hop to the top of our mat, inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. I was talking, I don't remember. Let's go into the Warrior series. My bad. Clasp your hands and bring your arms up. And then exhale, lower it down. All right, I'll stay on task. Sorry. Lower down. Hey, were you moving? Then we're doing yoga, right? Exhale. Inhale, lift it up. Where's Jaishri when I need her? Exhale, lower down. 2 more. Last one. Arms overhead and on an inhale. Exhale, plant the hands. Step it back. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. How are we doing? Yeah, me too. Good. So we begin again. It's a constant process in life. Beginning again. A fresh start. Every time we come to the top of our mat, every day is a new day to do better. Wrap your left arm underneath your right. Cross your left leg on top of the right. Sit a little bit lower. Take an inhale and then bring the knees and the elbows together while you exhale. 2, 3, 4, and here's 5. So, arms overhead, left leg in a tabletop. Lower down and drop and come into your runner's lunge. Drop the left knee, arms overhead. Exhale, cactus. Arms overhead, back to your runner's lunge. You got it. We know this one. Beautiful. Now, if you'd like at this point to just not even drop the knee to the ground, you can. But it's pretty extreme. And we know know that we have more coming. So pace yourself. And the opposite is true. If you're kind of low energy today, forgot the cactus, then skip it. Last one here, inhale. Cactus your arms, exhale. Arms overhead. Or how about just come to a child's pose, lower it down. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Now lift your right leg, bring your knee to your nose 5 times. Yeah. Exhale, bring it in. On the 5th time, we set up for Warrior 1, dropping the left heel to the floor, arms behind you, they clasp. We peel our chest off our thigh on the inhale, and then suspend the chest on the exhale. Reach the crown of your head forward. Keep the back leg engaged by pressing into the left foot, by squeezing the left butt cheek, by lifting up through the left kneecap. Beautiful. Now we're going to open to a Warrior 2. So arms are going to come overhead and then open up to a Warrior 2. I'm going to turn around so you see me. So we're in Warrior 2. Arms are out in front of us. Yeah, and then reach your arms overhead and straighten through the right leg and a deep stretch to the right. And then another Warrior 2. Inhale. Exhale, Warrior 2. Inhale, reach. Exhale, Warrior 2. 2 more. Inhale, reach. Exhale, Warrior 2. Last one, you're going to hold the Warrior 2 leg. And then we're going to make big circles with our arms. Starting in a classic side angle with the left arm over the ear with the palm facing down. Now, maybe you're lucky enough to have a mirror. I want you to see if you can create kind of a triangle with your body. The line from foot to foot is straight. The line from left foot to left fingertip is straight. And then the line from the fingertip to the toes are straight. So in Bikram yoga, they call this a triangle. In Ashtanga yoga, we call it side angle pose. And then a big circle, and you stay here, and we'll call this Exalted Warrior because we're leaning back. But classic Exalted, your back hand is supporting you, but we're not doing that today because we want to really work our core. And then we keep going. So we try to keep the right leg engaged the whole time. Woo! Big circles, using that incredible 120-degree range of motion that we have in our arms, in our shoulders. Yeah, trying to keep the neck out of the equation. Beautiful. One more. Good. And then vinyasa. Put your hands on the ground. Step back. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Hold that here. I'm going to turn back around. We're on our left leg now, so lift your left leg, open the hip. Bring your left leg across. It's a little push-up. 4 more times. So think of every time you cross your left leg across your body and you twist. Think of it as giving your descending colon a massage, or at least just stimulating the digestive system as we constrict that part of our body. And then when we open the leg and open the belly, then new blood goes there and kind of restores. Nice. Downward facing dog. Look between the hands. Walk to the top of your mat and forward fold. Tabletop your back. Forward fold. Exhale. Let's rise to standing, and we're back in our chair. Bend the knees. Right arm crosses underneath the left. Right leg crosses on top of the left. Lean it back first. Then bring the elbows and the knees together, holding the low belly in so the low back doesn't get tweaked. And then use your back strength to bring you back up. Your upper back strength. Your core muscles, hold them in. Yes. And lift. 2 more. You're doing it, you guys. We're doing it. Yeah, it shows me every time I look and see how many views. You guys are committed. Committed to your health. Runner's lunge, and then cactus, bring your arms overhead and then cactus them. You're not going to let a little social isolation bring you down. I mean, people are playing bridge with friends on their computer. Jeopardy. I mean, nothing can stop us, you know. We are smart. Human beings are incredibly smart. Necessity is the mother of invention. We are inventing new ways to stay connected. And this is one of them. And fitness happens to be a byproduct. Calmness happens to be a byproduct. Peace of mind. Exhaling. That's it. Let's step back, vinyasa. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Breathe it out. Here we go. We're in it still. Warrior series coming up. Knee to nose. Exhale. Inhale, lift. Exhaling, knee to nose. Inhale, lift. Exhale, knee to nose. 2 more times. Last one. Step your left foot between your hands. Put your right heel on the floor. Clasp your hands behind your back. Try to lift the hands off the sacrum. And then pressing down into your left foot. You lift your chest up to a warrior one. Maybe the left knee can bend all the way to 90. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, let's go. Exhale. 3 more. We lift up on an inhale, relaxing the shoulders. Exhale, dip it in. 2 more. And then on the last one, you'll come up, you'll release the arms overhead, and then open to a warrior 2. I can talk about it on the other side, but yeah, the knee is bent to 90. The back leg needs to be as active as the front. So what can you do to engage your right glute? I know, this gets a little hard. So now straighten your left leg and reach, stretching out the side body. Yeah. And then back to your warrior 2. And then inhale, stretch out the side body. And watch as we use our obliques to straighten out the torso as we dip into warrior 2. I mean, it's just great stuff. We don't need fancy machines or expensive memberships. We just need a little creativity, and if you're lucky enough to have YouTube, right? And I don't think YouTube even costs anything. 2 more. Last one here. Good. Now here we go. We work into our side angle pose. So the left hip drops a little bit. So then you can create that long line of energy on the right side. And then we just make big circles. Exalt the warrior. Oh! Side angle pose. Exhale. Exalted warrior. Side angle pose. 3 more. Yes. 2 more. Last time here, exalt your warrior. And let's vinyasa. Bring the hands to the ground. Step back. Roll forward and lower down. Upward facing. Downward facing dog. Jump through to seated. This is not everybody's favorite, but I think it's important to do it. So it's a back bend. So we're going to do this. You can put your right hand on something and elevate it, like a block or a book or 2 books or 10 books. And then you lift your hips up to the sky and you bring your right arm, your left arm behind you. And then you do that 4 more times. So I never let my bottom touch the ground. And then exhale, lift. And then sit down. Now, things that start to happen is the toes start to fan out. You know, mine do too. And I guess it's okay if they fan out a little bit. 2 more times. Last one. Nice work. Good. Cross the hands. And then just turn onto the left hand, which is your fresh hand. Bring your right arm to the sky. This is it. This is the last of the whole routine. And then bring your right arm underneath you. And then bring your right arm to the sky. Now, if you need to get more stable, I do. So I take my top leg and I bring it forward. Yeah, 3 more times. 2 more times. This is it. Last one. Both hands to the ground. Vinyasa. Downward facing dog. Alrighty. Lift the left leg. Open the hip. Cross your left leg across your body. It's a little push-up. Swing it back. Open it up. Another little push-up. 2 more times. I think 3. I don't want to cheat you out of your good workout. I can feel my heartbeat increasing in my ears. Keep it breathing, you guys. This state we're in, where our heart rate is lifted and our body temperature is lifted and we're burning ATP, well, we keep burning. So the metabolism keeps working all day long. So hours after we're done, right arm underneath the left, right leg on top of the left, sit low, lean back first, exhale, elbows to knees. Inhale, lift it up. Exhale, elbows to knees. What'd you think of that backbendy thing? I learned that from Katie at Joya Yoga in a hot Pilates class, but it worked great. And you know, we did it like 600 times in that class. I'm only asking for 5. Last time, unwind it all. Right knee up, and then step it back. Minal, you're out there. I know you are. You were with me in that class when we did it. It was Katie or Kaylin, I'm not sure. Lift it up. Arms overhead. And then bring the hands to the ground. Vicki, I love that you're doing this. Maybe you and Sally are doing it together. Oh, no, you can't. Gosh darn it. I guess you guys' houses are big enough you could do it together. Arms overhead. Cactus the arms. 2 more. Yep. Last one. Now bring the arms overhead. And then we'll vinyasa, hands on the ground, left leg steps back, keep chugging along. Yeah. Every time it gets too tough, check in to see if you're holding your breath. That's kind of a common thing that happens, you know, and that's almost the worst thing that we can do, because holding your breath puts you in that fight or flight system. And our breath, especially a steady breath in yoga, we call that kind of a breath where we control it pranayama. Prana is life force, like Christy Turlington's brand, and we pretty much know that word, but not all of us know the word yama, which means constraint. And so we control the breath, come on up, warrior one, by kind of lengthening the inhales and exhales, or even just paying attention to it, which is unnatural. And what that does is it keeps our mind from wandering. It keeps our consciousness from getting too hung up and stressed out. And it makes this a moving meditation, which, you know, some of us, and I'm one of them, really struggle with seated meditation. But while I'm on my mat, that's all I'm thinking about is my body, the sensations I'm feeling. Arms overhead, open yourself out. So we're in that warrior two again. Yep, and then reach up. This is called Exalted Triangle, but we're adding a wrist grab, and then back to your warrior two, sink in. Inhale, it's a reach. Exhale, sink in. Couple more. We're getting there. I can kind of see. I think we're at, 50 minutes. 10 more minutes, you're out of here. Maybe a little more. Last one, we reach. Now let's find our side angle pose. Big circles. Yeah, we're asking a lot of the left leg here, but you know what else we're asking for? We're asking for flexibility in the hips. We're asking for kindness, or ahimsa, which is one of the yamas in yoga, which means being kind to yourself and others, which means not pushing past your boundaries, right? Yeah, nobody's asking you to hurt yourself here. No one in yoga will ever say, go harder, go deeper, or you're in the wrong kind of class. Vinyasa. Step your left leg back, roll forward and lower down. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Let's jump through. And now the left hand will be behind us, and notice the fingertips are pointed away from you. Walk your feet a little closer into you because it gives you a little more leverage. And then lift up to a back bend. I'll turn around so I can look at you guys. We'll do 4 more. Take an inhale. Exhale, lift. Lower down. Inhale, lift. Now if this feels yucky on your shoulder, then just do bridges, where you lay on your back and you lift your pelvis off the floor. Yeah, doing it this way is just a little more dynamic. And it's just fun to try new things. 2 more. Last one. And we still have our side plank to do. So you're on the right arm, the outside of the right foot. The left leg can stagger in front of you. Inhale. And then curl it under, exhale. Inhale, curl it under, exhale. 3 more. Does it feel good to know that we're done? Almost. Last one, curl it under. Last vinyasa of the whole class. Good. Now jump through to seated. I did these yesterday, and I'm loving them, so we're going to do it again today. So, we're going to do 2 different kinds of handstand. One at the wall, laying on our back, and then one at the wall. So, when we did it the other day and I videotaped it, I noticed that my ribs were all splayed out. And there's no way I'm ever going to hit handstand with my ribs splayed out like that. So, I thought, well, let's see what happens when I pretend to do a handstand on my back. So bring your legs over your hips. They can be bent if your hamstrings aren't happy in this position. Knit your ribs together, which might mean that you need to scooch closer to the wall. Hold your belly in, and then lower your one leg until the ribs begin to open, and the belly begins to pop up. Yeah. So that would be a handstand with one foot on the wall and one leg in the air. So let's do it with the other leg. Yeah. And I wish you could see me. You can probably hear it in my voice. There's quite a bit of quivering going on. And then let's switch. Whew. And then let's switch. So this doesn't have any of the upper body taxation or taxing because we're not balancing on our hands. But it preps us for the eventual core strength we're going to need when we are ready to go upside down, which is in about 2 more rotations. And we're going to do it facing away from the wall. We're not going to kick up to the handstand. And like everything else, it's optional. But I want us to all try it because it's pretty liberating. And it's joyful because it's childlike. Because I think if you were at your job, you wouldn't do this. So you put your hands on the ground, okay? And then start with your right or your left foot on the wall. And then you lift your opposite leg in the air. Now, what I learned is that my ribs kind of bow out. So I'm going to try to look at the wall and knit my ribs together. And I won't know if it's effective until I look at the video. And then I'm going to do the other leg. Now you can take a break between each leg if you're fatigued. Steady breath. Coming out before you feel like you're going to collapse. Good. Come to seated. And we'll finish up with some sweet stretches. Good. So, just to open up the chest. Bend the left elbow and lean over to the left. We made it another day. Do the right side. Good. Bring both legs out in front of you. And today, I want you to turn back one leg. Now, it's okay if your knee is kind of out to the side, and I'm going to get rid of my mat because my tights kind of blend in. So, your one leg is extended and one knee is folded back. Now, if this doesn't work for your knees, which is true for many of us, then you can come into a butterfly. And if that doesn't work, you can lay on your back. Okay? So, if you're with me, line your shoulders up in front of the extended leg, which is, in this case is my left leg, and then forward fold. And what I want you to do is grab the outside of your left foot and give it a pull. And let's add the breath. So we lengthen, even if it's just a centimeter. So football they say is a game of inches. Yoga is a game of centimeters. So we only go a little bit, more, and then we drape down a little bit more. It's about practice, a regular practice, repetition, showing up every day. Because yoga is one of those exercises you can do every day. Walk your hands back. Now again, this is not for everyone, but sometimes I've got to do stuff that is a little out of the ordinary because there are plenty of you out there that are craving more, So, leg is turned under, you lay on your back. Now you could go deeper. I know there are a few of you out there that need more. You're not feeling enough in your hamstring. You can bring your left knee into your chest. if you're still, I'm not hamstring, psoas and quadricep. If you still need more, you can straighten your left leg. And that's about as far as I can go to demonstrate. Pretty much everybody at that point should get a pretty decent stretch. Now, if you look really closely at my right knee, it is on the floor. It's not lifted. My right foot is tucked under, giving the front of my right leg a pretty delicious stretch. Good. Now, wherever you are, prop yourself up, come back to seated, and then take this right leg that was bent behind you, or it was in a butterfly, and just bring it so the right foot's on the floor and your right knee is bent. Okay, you with me? All right, the beauty of not being in a class is that you weren't looking around to see who did what, right? Comparing and competing, which gets us nowhere. But I am the biggest offender of that, just so you know. Again, why I did yoga at home for a year before I had the courage to find a studio. So let's twist to the right. So hang on to your right knee. Underhand grip is great, I think, because it keeps your right shoulder down. But I know a lot of you guys like all the fancy vines and stuff. Whatever makes you have the deepest stretch. And twist. I don't know if you guys can see it, but way back, I had a yoga studio in Livermore, and we had this statue in the studio, and the studio failed, and it was a tough time. But the statue has come with me through 3 houses, a divorce, never wanting to do yoga again, to doing yoga at home, to teaching yoga, and now this. Life is amazing. Good. In between, we'll do a little butterfly stretch. So just open your feet up like a book. Bring the heels as close in as you can and as flat a back as you can, forward fold. And then when you've gone as far with a flat back as you can, just drape it down. Now, since you're at home, there's no time limit on these stretches. So if I'm coming out sooner than you're ready to come out, you can just turn me off, right? So let's do the other side where we bend back. In this case, it's the left foot. And the top of my left foot is on the floor, and my 5 left toes are pointing behind me, okay? And then first it's a forward fold over the right leg. It's kind of nice. The rain is falling. You can just see I have a little fig tree out in front of me, and I brought it with me from my old house too. And it's sprouting, and the little sweet baby green leaves are saying, "Oh, thank you, rain. I need you right now." Good. And then we lean back, targeting the front of the left thigh, the left psoas, which when we sit, and here's the beautiful thing, we're not sitting as much because we're not commuting. So maybe you're not as tight in this last week or so because you're not sitting at your desk at work. And for me, commuting 3 hours a day back and forth to Oakland to the 3 different studios. If you can lay all the way down, awesome. If you can bend your right knee. And you're only doing it because you don't feel enough, you know? You're like, what? Why are we here? And then as soon as you find that place, that edge that you ride, you know? Then you stop. Whew, not on this leg. Keep keeping the left knee on the floor to protect the joint. Not moving quickly to protect the connective tissue. And then there's a relaxation that needs to happen. So if you're super tense here and you can't wait to be out, then I need you to back off a little bit and relax into the stretch. So we do that with breath. So take an inhale and then exhale. Now, and then we'll come out of that. A lot of times, I'm sorry, a lot of times the toe can cramp here. And if that's the case, you can come out because that's not comfortable at all. No breathing in the world is going to help you get rid of the cramp. Just make sure to drink more water. You know, it happens to me when I get dehydrated. And then turn over to the left and twist here. And again, yeah, you can use your arm, but if your shoulder is up and your back is curved just because you want to get into this pose, then that's not going to be all that effective. If anything, it might make you pull your, I don't know what this muscle is, but it's easy to pull right underneath your shoulder blade. One more inhale, staying in this shape because exhaling into twists is just delicious. Good, and then one more time in a seated butterfly. Inhale here, and notice you might be able to go a little bit deeper. And then final resting pose is Shavasana. You stay in that Shavasana as long as you'd like, or as long as your kids will let you. Thank you so much for joining me, you guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Namaste.